Hello guys, how are you doing today? This is the 25th episode of Python tutorial series. We were in the last episode we were studying the if else conditions in Python. If, elif, else condition in Python. Now AND. The AND keyword is a logical operator and is used to combine conditional statements. Test if A is greater than B and if C is greater than A. A equals to 200, B equals to 33 and C equals 500. If A is greater than B, which is true, and C is greater than A, which is also true, colon, print both conditions are true. And this is exactly what's gonna get printed. OR. The OR keyword is a logical operator and is used to combine conditional statements. Okay. Test if A is greater than B or A is greater than C. Since A is A is greater than B, this will be true, but A is greater than C, this will not be true because you know why. So, but if one condition is true and if the both conditions are true, then OR, in case of OR, the code block will execute. Okay. So if A is greater than B or A is greater than C colon pin, at least one of the conditions is true, at least one, or maybe even both conditions are true. Nested if. You can have if statements inside if statements. This is called nested if statements. X equals to 41. If X is greater than 10, which is true, then we enter a code block. Print above 10. Okay, this will be printed. Now, parallel to the print command, that's another thing. It's nested if. If X is greater than 20, which is also true, then will be printed and also above 20. Now this else statement, this is parallel to if and also print. So since 41 is greater than 20 and also above 20 will be printed out, but if X was not 41, let's say 18, then the code block under else colon would have been printed out, which is print but not above 20. Okay, and although they seem to be in the different lines, but they are not actually in different lines, in the same line. Anything that you see after the print command and also above 20 or but not above 20, they are in the same line. Okay, so in this case what will be the output of the, it's gonna be above 10 and in one line comma and in another line and also above 20 exclamation. This is gonna be the printout. Yeah, that's exactly what. Now the pass statement. If statements cannot be empty, but if you for some reason have an if statement with no content, put in the pass statement to avoid getting an error. Okay, suppose for some reason you don't have anything under the B if b greater than a if statement, or maybe you are preparing a block of code for this particular if statement, but if you want to execute this for the time being, execute the program or run the program maybe with other codes as well, you cannot leave this empty. You will have to insert something, and that's keyword is pass. Okay, so test yourself with exercises. Print hello world if a is greater than b. It's very easy. So in this gap it's gonna be in this gap, yes, lowercase, this is greater than, and this has to be colon. Now if I submit, it's a correct answer. We have plenty of time. another 5 minutes almost. So Python while loops. Python has two primitive loop commands, while loops and for loops. Okay, the while loop. With the while loop, we can execute a set of statements as long as a condition is true. Okay, put I as long as print I as long as I is less than 6. So I equals to 1 while I is less than 6 colon print I. Then I plus equals to 1. So what's gonna be the output of this thing? It's gonna be, first of all, the print command first, then the increment. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 things that's gonna get printed when it is I equals to 6. The condition will not satisfy, so we will get out of the while loop. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 numbers would be printed one after another in separate lines. Remember to increment, or else the loop will continue forever. The while loop requires relevant variables to be ready. The while loop requires relevant variables to be ready. That means before you start the while loop, you need to have a relevant variable, which is I. In this case, you need to initiate that before you enter the while loop. Okay, in this example, we need to define an indexing variable I, which we set to 1, the break statement. With the break statement, we can stop the loop even if the while condition is true. Okay, exit the loop when I is 3. I equals to 1 while I is less than 6 colon, that means enter the while loop, print I. Now before you print and also you increment, there is a condition like if I equals to 3 in value, then break, which means that when I equals to 3, you don't have to do anything else with the while loop, you simply get out of here. Okay, so 1 will be printed out, 2 will be printed out, and 3 is also be printed out because print command first. But when 3 will be 3, this particular condition will be satisfied, then we'll break out of the while loop. Okay, and look at the indentation. So it's gonna be output 1, 2, 3 in 3 separate lines. Okay, now the continue statement. With the continue statement, we can stop the current iteration and continue with the next. Okay, example, continue to the next iteration if I equals to I is 3. I equals 0 while I is less than 6 colon I plus equals to 1. This increment if I double equals to 3 colon continue print I. It means that when I equals to 1, when I will enter the for loop for the first time, I will become 1. Since 1 is not 3, so the if condition statement will not satisfy and 1 will be printed, and the same way 2 will be printed, and when I will be 3, the if I whether equals to 3 will be satisfied, then this particular iteration will continue. It means that whatever is there after the continue, you have to ignore it. Okay, you have to go to the next iteration, and in that iteration I will be 4 and it's gonna be printed out. So it's the printout gonna be 1, 2, 4, 5, but not 6, because 6 is not less than. How come? When print I, wait, let me see. 1 will be printed out, 2 will be printed out, 3 will not be, 4 will be printed out, 5 will be printed out. When at the what should I say, at possibly the fourth iteration, no, fifth iteration, because in the first iteration, while you check the condition whether I is less than 6, I is 0, this is the first iteration. So for the second iteration, I is gonna be 1. So for when I equals to 4, that's the fifth iteration. In case of the fifth iteration, first of all, I will increment will be 5 and will also be printed 5. But when in the sixth iteration, I will be initially 5, and since 5 is less than 6, so the we will enter the while loop. After that, will increment, and since 6 is not greater than 3, it will not continue. It will go to the print, and then 6 will be printed out. That's why, what are the numbers that are going to be printed out? It's 1 2 3, not 3, 1 2 4 5 6. Okay, let's see once again. Okay, sorry guys, yes, that's enough for this particular tutorial. It was the 25th tutorial, and have a great day until the next one.